For the people had a mind to work. Nehemiah 4:6. Ukraine, about the size of Texas, has always fed the Russian people from its rich black soil. When the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, Ukraine broke free. After 70 years of communist repression, spiritual interest soared. For years, faithful believers had sowed seeds of God's grace despite exile and sometimes even death. As communism waned, the evangelical church began to grow. Small house churches were no longer adequate. As more and more people heard the good news and gathered for worship, they needed larger houses of prayer. But there was no money to build. Some partially finished buildings sat idle, and the believers prayed for money to finish construction. In 1992, Send International saw the critical need for new buildings to sustain church growth. Send began to recruit North American teams to work alongside believers. These teams brought construction skills, financial help, prayer, and most of all, encouragement to those who had sacrificed so dearly for their faith in Christ. Cold War stereotypes dissolved into lasting friendships as these teams and their Ukrainian brothers and sisters have worked side by side. Most of these new churches reflect traditional Ukrainian and Russian architecture. Often city codes demand ornate structures to fit the culture and surroundings. But in recent years, new building methods and practicality have created a construction style that Send calls fast build. In one city, a church of almost 400 people was meeting in an old circus tent. When the tent was completely destroyed in a fierce windstorm in September 2002, the congregation scattered into small groups at the old house church and apartments. In 2003, Send Construction's teams working with believers raised a new church in just 8 weeks that was large enough to seat 500. By the end of the summer, the building was complete enough for use. God began to fill it with believers and seekers, and in 2 more years, all 500 seats were filled. Although church buildings have been the primary focus of these teams, other projects have also been equally successful. Send teams helped restore a dilapidated former daycare center in Odessa that today is home to 35 boys and girls. On the same property, Send teams converted a warehouse into a soup kitchen that feeds orphans, widows, and poor families every day. The Odessa church is obeying the command in the book of James to look after orphans and widows in their distress. Leadership training is one of Send's 4 top priorities. Because of the importance of training national pastors, missionaries, and Christian workers, construction teams have helped build the Odessa Theological Seminary. Students from this seminary are touching some of the most hard-to-reach people groups of Central Asia and Siberia. Camping is a way of life for the people of the former Soviet Union, and people have flocked to the Black Sea coast for vacation for centuries. A church in Odessa, knowing that camping was a great way to reach unbelievers with the gospel, purchased a 17-acre former communist youth camp for just over $37,000. Even though the 35 old buildings were in great disrepair, this purchase was unmatched anywhere they looked. As soon as the property was purchased, short-term teams began to work with the local believers to rebuild and remodel many of these buildings. In just 2 seasons of construction, many buildings are restored to use better than ever before. Believers from both North America and Odessa joined together to accomplish this work of God. Many campers who come to the Black Sea camp for fun and play will take home a personal relationship with the God of the universe. The Old Testament story of Nehemiah tells the miraculous rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem in just 52 days. Nehemiah 4:6 says this miracle was accomplished by God through his people because the people had a mind to work. Now, thousands of years since that event, Christ is building his church all over Ukraine and throughout the entire world. Construction teams are vital to the growth of the church in Ukraine. Send teams have helped with churches, seminaries, orphanages, and refuges for the homeless and camps.
God is calling out his people out from every tongue and race, raising up a mighty army, soldiers who are saved by grace. Come, join the battle, hand in hand before God's face. Come, raise the banner, soldiers who are saved by grace. God is raising up the nations, sweeping through each land and place. Christians marching out in triumph, soldiers who are saved by grace. Come, join the battle, hand in hand before God's face. Come, raise the banner, soldiers who are saved by grace. Come, join the battle, hand in hand before God's face. Come, raise the banner, soldiers who are saved by grace.
Would you like to join a Send construction team? Is there a group from your church that could form a whole team? Teams begin forming from October to December for the next summer. Pray about this opportunity and feel free to contact us.